They say every home has its secrets. But some don't whisper, they howl, seeping into the silence until someone finally listens. For me, it began with a smell, not the usual stench of stale alcohol or cheap aftershave that clung to my son-in-law's furniture like old grief. This was different. Ancient. Decaying. I had come simply to tidy up. I left with a metallic taste of horror on my tongue. 3 years. That's how long she'd been missing, my daughter. My fierce, radiant girl. The police shrugged. Her husband cried when expected. I stood at a gravesite with no casket, gripping my wife's trembling hand, nodding like a man surrendering to the inevitable. But deep inside, I hadn't accepted anything. I was still listening. Still searching. Life grew quieter after that. I took early retirement. My wife and I drifted in silence, words between us thinning like the years. The only connection left was Adam, my son-in-law. He still called me Dad. Still invited me over like nothing had happened. Still smiled with that hollow warmth, as though he hadn't entombed my daughter in forgotten shadows. So when he phoned and asked if I could help him clean out the basement before he sold the house, I agreed, quietly. I arrived before him. I needed a moment alone. The basement was darker than I remembered. Dampness crept up the concrete walls, and every breath carried the thick stench of mold. I shifted boxes, cleared out scattered tools. And then, I noticed it. A door I didn't recall. Blended into the wall, painted over like skin. No knob, just a faint outline, and near the bottom, shallow scrapes. Fingernail scratches. It took me 20 minutes and a crowbar to open it. She was there. Shackled. Pale. Breathing. Her eyes barely fluttered open. Her lips were cracked, her throat dry, but she managed to whisper, "I can't do this anymore. Help me, Daddy." I rushed toward her, then stopped. Because as I reached to cradle her face, like I used to when she scraped her knees as a little girl, I noticed the chain. Not the rust. Not the weight. The padlock. It had their initials carved into it, A+E, Adam and Emily. That was their wedding symbol. His idea. His obsession. And just like that, the puzzle of the past 3 years reassembled in my mind. How he wouldn't let us near the basement after she disappeared. How quickly he arranged the funeral. How he took her pictures down, but never removed his ring. How he changed the Wi-Fi name to Emily is Gone. I didn't scream. Didn't cry. I lifted her gently in my arms, like a soldier retrieving the final casualty from a forgotten battlefield. She lost consciousness in my grip. Then Adam walked in. Keys jingling. Smug smile in place. I said nothing. I stepped aside. Let him see what he thought he'd buried. His expression didn't fall, it froze. And that told me all I needed. No shock. No confusion. Just stillness. He wasn't horrified. He was caught. And proud. I told him to sit. Calmly. He didn't argue. I called the police. Told them I had found my daughter alive, in my son-in-law's basement. That alone was enough to set everything in motion. But prison wasn't his only punishment. The media tore into him. Local hero's son-in-law kept daughter chained beneath his home. Headlines blared. His employer fired him within hours. Filed a fraud case the next day. His accounts? Already empty. I'd been watching them silently for years. Quietly shifting every dollar he stole from Emily's savings back into her name. The house? No longer his. Before his arrest, I had our lawyer file a claim. My daughter's name was never removed from the deed. We held the next family dinner in his dining room, with Emily seated at the head of the table. She didn't say much. But when she did, her voice had strength I didn't expect. "He thought he could trap me with love," she said. "But all he did was give me time to remember who I am." That night, after everyone left, I stayed behind to lock up. I walked down to where the basement door used to be. Now free of chains. Open. I stared into the blackness. Some spirits aren't meant to be buried. Some are meant to haunt the right person. And now, every day that Adam wakes up behind bars, he remembers. He knows I'm still here. He knows she survived. He knows we both did. Sometimes I wonder, what gave him the nerve to shackle someone he claimed to love? To erase her from the world while pretending to grieve? Maybe he thought I was too broken to look closely. He was wrong. Betrayal is a kind of craft. But so is revenge. And I worked carefully, quietly, like a painter with time. I never needed to raise my voice. I only had to let the truth speak louder than his lies. He tried to bury her in the dark. I dragged both of them into the light. They say a house holds secrets. Mine holds justice.